Mic check. Is this thing working? Alright. The reason I do a mic check is because, well, this is actually the third time I'll be recording this video. Well, the first time it only went for 30 minutes and I realized, oh shoot, I forgot to check my mic and of course it wasn't working. So I was just talking to myself for 30 minutes. And then the second time, I recorded it, it was all finished, I was happy with it. And I remember I named the file and I moved it into a different folder. And I have zero idea where it went. I don't know where it went. So, here we are. This is my third time recording this video. So, I'm gonna try not to under-explain, because I have explained a lot of this a number of times already. But holy crap, that was like a great start to the game. But what I was saying is that this is going to be different from my typical video. Am I recording? I'm so paranoid now. I really don't want to do this for a fourth time. But anyways, this is going to be different from my typical video in which I'm just playing the game, talking about the game. Although I will be talking about Team Fortress 2, but I want to tell a little bit of a story about how I got into TF2. Because I think it's interesting, and I figured, let's try something different. If you hate this and you want me to shut up and only talk about the game, let me know. I would appreciate that feedback. I'm sure there are some people who feel that way. If you want more of this, let me know. Or if you prefer just gameplay with no commentary, I can do that as well. But anyways, speaking of this being a different than normal video, the last two times I recorded this, I gave a disclaimer that don't expect me to be playing as good as I usually do, if you can call my gameplay good, because I'll be focused on telling the story more than the actual game. So this is more of just like a look. I'm playing TF2. That's why I'm playing heavy on Upward, because even though I've played this map already and this class on this map already before on this channel, I'm like, well, let me play something that's familiar so I, can dedicate less focus to the game. And so that's the case. But anyways, I want to tell a story that's basically just, how did I end up becoming a TF2 player? And when I say TF2, I mean, I suppose, how did I end up as a competitive player? But I mostly mean, like, just TF2 in general. Like, why did I pick this game? And, it all goes back, and by the way, all of this story, is my mic recording? I'm so paranoid. Mic check? Okay, good. I'm gonna check that every once in a while. I'm paranoid. But anyways, the reason, or I need to go back, and this is all based off of my memory. So, forgive me if, like, I don't know how you would know, but if anything I say is untrue, this is just how I remember it. And I want to clarify that as I'm telling about, I'm going to turn my game volume down, hang on. As I'm telling you about these, like, eras that I'm going to talk about, I want you to understand that there is overlap, right? So, as I transition from, like, one phase in my life to another, it's not like a hard cutoff. There's overlap. So I'm going to talk about different video game consoles that I had, and understand that, like, when I get a new console, it doesn't just immediately stop the previous console or games or whatever that I was playing. Like, there's overlap. And that's still true to this day, because I still every once in a while revisit some of the titles that I played. But anyways, without any further ado, where does the story begin? I don't know how old I was. I was very young, probably 4, 5, 6, 7. And the first kind of game that I remember playing that's like a video game was not actually a game. It was Microsoft Word, which you may be saying, what the hell? Well, for those of you who... Oh, there's a sticky trap. Oh my god. For those of you who are young and who basically grew up with a smartphone, that wasn't me. I didn't get a smartphone until I was a bit older. And long story short, as a kid, I was bored a lot. And so were my siblings, right? And so what we would do, we had two old crappy computers. I think one was running like Windows 98, and the other one was running like XP. And what we would do is we'd go on there and like boot up Word, and we just screw around in Word like with like word art and that type of thing, because it was just novel. Like it was like, wow, computer, look at this. And what we would do is we would like crap talk each other in a Word document, like put like, oh, oh my god, put like, so and so is dumb or something like that into a Word document. Maybe pizzazz it up with like word art, and then we would save that file on the computer for like our sibling to find, because you know that they're gonna find it because we shared the same stuff. We always shared the same stuff growing up, and so that's what we would do. And I remember doing that for a long time, and we'd kind of fight over it. But we also, at some point, figured out, like, oh my god, there's built-in games in Windows. This is back when back before Microsoft, well, Microsoft was still pretty evil back then, but it was, like, before they, like, weren't even trying to hide, like, Microsoft doesn't even try to hide it anymore, they're just a bad company. But back in the day, at least they, like, tried to pretend like they cared about their customers and stuff, and so you still had video games bundled into the software that you were paying for. Nowadays, the software that you pay for spies on you and is really obnoxious and doesn't understand consent. But that's a different rant. If you couldn't tell, I don't really like Microsoft a lot. But anyways, we'd play pinball. I think that was the only game that we played. There were probably more built-in games in Microsoft Windows. I think there was like Solitaire, but we didn't play that. We only played pinball, from what I remember. So, there's a telly over there. I need to kill that. But anyways, that was kind of the first era. I don't know how long it lasted. Probably only a couple of months, because pretty quickly... And we continued to do the things that I'm talking about, like I said. But at some point we discovered Flash games, so like in the web browser, right? And I believe the origin of us being like, oh my god, there's more games that you can play on the computer other than like pinball, is we had a foreign exchange student from a different country visit us, and he was older. He was in high school at the time, and we were pretty young, and he showed us like Miniclip and like other websites like that had like Adobe Flash games, and so that was my, that's really where I got hooked, because I would say like Flash games aren't perfect, obviously, but they're a lot of really solid Flash games. A lot of them have been adapted. So like one such game that obviously is like a big franchise now is the Bloons Tower Defense games. And I would play the crap out of, I think, 1 and 2 and maybe 3. I don't remember how many of them there were. I have to do some research. But yeah, we play Bloons Tower Defense. I'm still a big fan of the tower defense genre today. But we'd also play, what's the name of that game? Gemcraft. And by we, I mostly mean me. I'm not sure what my siblings played, but I imagine there was a lot of overlap there. Yeah, we play BTDE. We played Gemcraft. Oh, another one was Kingdom Rush. I played a crap ton of Kingdom Rush on the computer. I have it on my Steam wish list. I haven't bought it yet. I will eventually. I should have pulled on my Fist of Steel. But anyways, that was more. I'm sure there were more TD games, but this is what I remember playing a ton, right? And so another one, different genre, would be Gravity Guy. I remember playing that a lot on Miniclip. I played a lot of Final Ninja. I was obsessed with ninjas. That's the second... Am I going crazy, or is that the second time that the demo has fallen into the pit? I'm not going to say his name. This video's going to get flagged by the algorithm if I say his name or some shit. I'm paranoid about that. I want this video to get views, man. This is my third time recording it. So, anyways, what other games did I play? Oh, I was obsessed with this game called Siegis. Yeah, there's this game called Siegis. You're basically like a Roman general or something. Editor, please put up pictures or videos of the games that I'm talking about throughout this video, so that our viewer can have a visual other than just me playing this pub. But yeah, Siegis was great. I also played a game called I think it was called Stick Wars. That was similar to Siegis. That game was great. One of the weird ones that I remember playing all the time was called Burrito Bison, where you would I'm gonna go over here. You'd crush gummies. I don't know. It's just I'm kind of rambling. It was a fun game. So, yeah, Flash games. Love them to death still. Obviously, they're like, you know, anybody can, at the time, like, anybody can make a Flash games. Like, they were relatively, like, they were very common. You could just play a ton of games on there. But they were pretty simple, you know, pretty simple games. Raft Wars was another one. Swords and Sandals was another one. Okay, we're on Borneo, that's fine. We'll play Borneo. Let me continue this story. So yeah, Flash games, big part of my love for gaming as a child. And I'd like to point out something that I should have pointed out earlier, but at this age, you know, I was pretty young still, like, I don't know how old, like 8 or 9, probably still playing Flash games. Maybe younger, maybe older, I don't remember exactly. But my parents did not want us to play violent games. And so some of the games that I listed, I had to play, like, in secret, or, you know, just, like, change to a new tab if you hear somebody coming. Because, like, games like Sieges, oh my god, that wouldn't fly if they saw that. And I probably got in trouble at times, because I'd get caught, but I think I was pretty good at, like, changing the tab. But anyways, kind of moving on, one day, I don't believe it was, like, any sort of special holiday. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was just a random day. And I don't know if it was, like, summer or winter or what, but I think it might have been summer. And I remember my dad came home once, and he just had bought us a Wii, like a Nintendo Wii. And I'm pretty sure, like, in hindsight, that the Wii, it must have been, like, on sale or something, because, oh, jeez. It must have been on sale or something, because it was definitely not a new-gen console at the time. Like, I think we were probably already on kind of to the next gen, and there was probably, like, a sale on the Wii, because it seems very weird that he would just buy it for full MSRP, so I'm guessing that's why. But the reason I suspect that as well is because it was kind of an impulse buy from what I know, because I remember my mom was upset and kind of pissed off at him, like, why would you buy this without asking me first? But while she was upset, me and my siblings were very excited, because we had probably been asking for a Wii for a long time. And that kind of ushers in the next... Oh my god, this map. Ugh. That ushers in the next era of games. And like I said, in no way did, like, I wasn't, like, done with Flash games at this point. It's just I had a, you know, new shiny thing, and so I would have, you know, I preferred to play the Wii over the Flash games, but I had to share with my siblings, so we took turns. But what games did we play on the Wii? Well, probably the most popular one that we played the most was probably Mario Kart Wii. That game is great. We played a lot of Mario Kart Wii. I definitely thought I was, like, really good, but I definitely was not really good at that game. But, you know, I was, like, what, like, probably, like, a 10, 11-year-old kid. So, yeah. You know how that goes. What else did I play? We played a ton of Wii Sport and Wii Sports Resorts. I'm getting the plurals wrong, but, you know, the one where you play sports. At a certain point, I do remember, like, me and both of my siblings would have been able to bowl a perfect 300 game in bowling, because bowling was, like, our best game. And I remember my parents were not a fan of boxing that you could play in Wii Sports. They thought it was, like, right on the edge of, like, this is probably too violent, and they would get kind of pissed off, like, you guys shouldn't be playing this, this is very violent. Which should give you an idea of, like, what I mean by they were not fans of violent video games. But anyways, what other games did we play? We played a ton of Super Smash Bros. Brawl as well. That game, I know, is not super popular in the, like, fighting games community. I think people don't like that one. I think they like Melee more. But I don't really care. I don't know much about fighting games. I know that the soundtrack is superb, and I had a fun time playing it, so I like that game a lot. This is one that a lot of you might not have heard of. I don't know how popular this game was, but I had a game called Nerf and Strike, and it was like a Nerf brand Wii game where you would basically you would like hook up your controller into like plastic like Nerf gun like thing, and when you hit the pulled the trigger, it would like hit a button on your Wii remote, and you would like basically it was like almost like an aim trainer type game on the Wii. And honestly, looking back at it, that game was probably like really garbage. It probably doesn't hold up at all. But I was just excited because it was like the closest thing to first-person shooter I could play at the time. Because, mind you, that at some point during probably the last kind of era of like the Flash games era, I had computer access so I could go on YouTube. And so I was aware of games like Call of Duty and stuff that I really wanted to play, but I couldn't because we had a no violent games rule, right? So I was just happy to be. I'm like, this is close enough, right? But yeah, the game was probably pretty garbage. I haven't played it since, so I'm not positive. And then the one other one that I remember we played a ton of was a game, and I have to look at my notes for this. Boom Blocks Bash Party, which if you don't know what the hell that is, then it doesn't sound good, but believe me, that game is awesome. And if you played that game, you would know. I don't really know how to describe it. It's kind of weird. Like, there were like a ton of different like kind of mini games that you played, but they were all pretty cool, I would say. I remember playing a lot of that game, and I think that one would probably still hold up. Because like some of these games that I'll list, like some of the Flash games are probably pretty bad, but again, you're a kid, so it's easier to please you than like an adult who's kind of spoiled and gets to play the best game ever, TF2. But yeah, like I think this game, the Boom Blocks game, even though it's kind of I don't think it's that I don't think it was like that popular, but I think that would hold up today. I think it's a fantastic game, from what I remember. And if you've played any of these games, or you want to be like, oh my god, I played that too, or if you think of any Flash games that you played a lot that I didn't mention, put a comment, because there's a good chance that I've also played that game. And I would love to go down a trip down memory lane, because I know that there's a lot of Flash games that I'm forgetting that I didn't list. But anyways, that was kind of it. For like, there were other Wii games that we had. I'm just listing the stuff that was like, we played a ton, right? And what console did we get next? Well, I have to look at my notes because, okay, that's right. So this console that we got next was actually a 3DS. And we all wanted our own, but we had to share. And I'm pretty sure the 3DS was like, same with the Wii, it was definitely not like super brand new when we got it. But this time it was like probably like the most like contemporary console that we got. As far as like when we got it, it was relatively new at the time. Still, like I said, it wasn't brand new, but it probably wasn't like super discounted either. Because the games are still pretty expensive for it. Because with the Wii, a lot of the games that we bought were like from a secondhand store. But you couldn't find 3DS games from a secondhand store at this time because it was much more contemporary when we had access to it, if that makes sense. So, this is probably the console that I played the least. Simply just because of my age. I think I was probably like around 12 or 13 when I got it. And as I'm going to get further into this, I'll kind of explain, but I didn't play that much 3DS, but I played a decent amount. So I only have a couple of games. And the ones that I played a lot, Mario Kart 7, I thought it was fun. Not really much to say about it. If I could go back and play either Wii or 7, I'd probably play 7, honestly, which is an unpopular choice or decision, I think. I think a lot of people hate on 7, but I thought it was good. And maybe it's just because I played Mario Kart Wii on like the Wii controller, which I think was kind of a crappy. I know a lot of people use a different controller for it. But anyways, I digress. I probably just stepped on a bunch of people's toes with that statement, but it's true. I like Mario Kart 7 a lot. I thought it was fun. But anyways, I also played this game. What was that Mario? What was the name of that game? It was Super Mario 3D Land. Played that a lot. And then the other one I played is a mouthful. I'm looking at my notes. It was Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games. And those are the 3 games that I remember playing like a lot on the 3DS. And we definitely had other games, but I didn't play them as much. And I ended up really not playing the 3DS for that long because at some point, we got an Xbox 360. I don't remember if it was like Christmas or what. I think it probably was Christmas the following year. But again, I don't know. This is based off my memory, and I don't even remember this for sure. I'm just like, this seems like it would make the most sense. So it was probably Christmas of the following year. This Demo Knight's a great distraction. But anyways, the Xbox 360 was probably the console, other than like PC, because like I've spent the most time as a PC gamer now at this point. But this era, the Xbox 360 was probably the longest, because I have a relatively long list of games, but at this point I was kind of like a bit more grown up. I mean, I was still like probably like 13 or 14, maybe 14 and a half, almost 15, when I was playing the 360, so I think I had a little bit of like a higher expectation for games, I guess, than I did before, because I had been watching people play them on YouTube for quite some time as well. And so, like, you know, I was seeing like these modern games, and you know, I don't know, I was a bit more picky, but like I'm rambling. Okay, I'll get to the point. I should mention too, before I actually get to the point, is that at some point in the 3DS or Xbox 360 era, I also had my first cell phone, which wasn't actually a cell phone; it was an iPod Touch. And so I had access to mobile games, and I'll talk a little bit more about mobile games in a bit. But I just want to throw that out there, because a couple of the games, I know actually it must have been during the 3DS era, because a couple of the games that I had on 360, I had played the mobile version of first. So I had played Minecraft Pocket Edition before I played the Minecraft Xbox 360 edition. And so to give some background, I spent most of my time watching people play Minecraft on YouTube, because Minecraft was just incredibly popular. And so I had, like, everybody who was making Minecraft YouTube videos who was, like, popular was playing Minecraft Java. And so I got Pocket Edition, and Pocket Edition, when I was playing it, was pretty garbage. Like, this is before, if you're younger, you probably don't even know anything about Pocket Edition, unless you've already heard of it from other people. But this is not the same as Bedrock, which is what we have now, which has, like, feature parity with Java. Although I think it should be renamed to Bug Rock. I think Java's better. But anyways, I'm not going to get into my... it's mostly the same, but there's some... the redstone isn't quite right. And I'm not going to get into my love for technical Minecraft in this video. It's not... I'm already rambling too much. But my point is, getting in this Xbox 360 was a big deal, even though now I'm looking back at it, the Minecraft version the Xbox 360 version of Minecraft was also pretty garbage, but it had a lot more, because you could go to the Nether, and it was just a couple of versions behind the PC game, instead of being, like, completely different, because, like, in Pocket Edition, man, you couldn't even go to the Nether. It was, like, this weird, like, the Nether reactor, and it would spawn a giant blob of netherrack, and it would drop, like, it was just bizarre. But they were obviously limited by their hardware, which we luckily don't really have nowadays, because mobile phones are so powerful, and you can also get handhelds like the Switch 2, the Steam Deck. But I digress. So yeah, on the Xbox 360, I played a crap ton of Minecraft. I remember my world like it was yesterday. Wish I still had it. I think it's lost to time. But I also played a bunch of Terraria. Terraria was the other game that I played a lot on mobile, and that was similar to Minecraft, where like the mobile version was just garbage, and the Xbox version was still quite far behind the PC, but not as much as the mobile version. So played Terraria a lot on the Xbox. Another game that I played, I guess these are two games. I'd play a crap ton. I should have shot the medic first. I'd play a crap ton of the Batman Arkham Asylum and Batman Arkham City games, mostly the latter. And that was kind of my introduction to like the stealth genre. And at this point, you can kind of tell, like, that game, it's a beat-em-up game. Although Batman doesn't kill people, which is like how I was able to convince my parents to let me get it, even though it was very violent. Um, that game was kind of pushing the envelope a little bit with the whole no violent video games thing. And it was on the 360 that me and my siblings had access to our very first game that was like a real first-person shooter. And ironically, that game was based off of Team Fortress 2, and they were definitely copying TF2's homework. And that game was called Brink. Now, Brink has a special place in my heart because I had such a blast playing that game. When we got our 360, I'm pretty sure the Xbox One was like out already, so it was like an old gen console. And so we were able to get used games for really cheap. And that's how we got Brink. So one of my siblings bought it when they were like with a grandparent, I think, secondhand shopping, and they found Brink, and they bought it because like my parents were pissed off about that, I remember. But we couldn't return it because it was secondhand, and they're like, fine, okay, you can play it, whatever. After we basically begged them, and yeah, whatever. We played Brink. In hindsight, that game was garbage. It was terrible. I played it again on PC, and I'm like, this is so bad. But nobody was playing when we were playing Brink, so we just played the campaign. We never played multiplayer. We also had, a little bit after that, we got Call of Duty 2. Same deal. Nobody was playing COD 2. We just played single player. Basically, we played LAN. And I remember my siblings and me would get mad at each other because we thought people were screen peeking, which I was definitely doing, and I'm pretty sure they were too. That's kind of COD 2, and they also hated. Oh my god, this is a ridiculous like defense grid of sentry guns, Jesus. But I remember they would get pissed off at me for using the Kar 98 because they thought it was like cheap to snipe. But this is important that I bring up the LAN on COD 2, other than the fact that it was like the first. So COD, this is the first game that you could actually like play against other people and not like just like the robots in the game. And so like COD 2 is my first multiplayer first-person shooter experience because like Brink. There might have been, I think there was a multiplayer of the game, but you couldn't play, like, LAN. Or if you could play LAN, we didn't, because we didn't have enough controllers. But, yeah, COD 2, my first ever multiplayer shooter, but it wasn't, like, online. It was just against my siblings. And so, that was, I remember being, like the best thing ever for me. I was so pumped about that. We had so much fun. It was probably really bad, but that doesn't matter, because we were having a good time. And I remember, I was, like, actually good. This is the first time that I was better at my older brother at any game, because when you're really little, you just are not good at things. And I remember like I was old enough, and I think had probably watched people play FPS games more than he had, so I just had a better idea of like how to play, and I was pretty good. I think I was the best COD 2 player in the house. But other than that, what other games did we play? We played, oh yeah, another one that we would play that we got after we had COD was a game called Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, which I think was a pretty garbage game, but it had guns and it was violent, and we were just happy to have access to that. So that's what we played. For the Xbox 360, that's actually pretty much it. We had a pretty big 360 and Wii collection, but I'm just listing the games that I remember I played like a ton that were like my favorites. And there were definitely a lot more on the 360 that I'm forgetting or just like omitting because they're just not, I don't think they're that relevant to like the story that I'm telling. And so that was that era. And I believe, I know for a fact that at some point during the 360 era is when I first discovered Team Fortress 2. And interestingly, I did not have access. I didn't play TF2 on the Xbox 360 because I know that was, you could get the orange box, but I didn't do it. Because I think our interest was kind of waning in a lot of the titles that we were playing on the 360, and we kind of wanted something new and fancy. And so I remember I bought my very first video game console that I bought with my own money was the Xbox One. And the reason that I purchased it is because I wanted to play Battlefield 1. And There was like a deal like where you'd get Battlefield 1 like when you bought an Xbox. And so the reason I wanted to play Battlefield 1 is because I saw Muselk playing it. And so I know that I discovered Muselk through tf2, so I must have been aware of tf2 during the 360 era. And so anyways, I saw him playing Battlefield 1, I said I want to play this, and I had a job, so for the first time ever I had the means to actually purchase something that I really wanted without having to beg my parents, and that's what I did. So I bought an Xbox 360, and I played a crap ton of Battlefield 1, or not, I'm sorry, I bought an Xbox One, and I played a crap ton of Battlefield 1. And ironically, I bought my Xbox One, but I didn't really I spent a decent amount of time playing on it, but it wasn't like a ton. It was definitely less than the 360 and the Wii, probably a bit more than the 3DS. But I didn't really play it that much. I only have 4 games listed. Another one, Fallout 4, which I also played Fallout 76, but here's a story behind that. So when I played Fallout 4, I'm not going to say where, because I don't want to spoil it, but I got stuck in a very important area of the game that was very buggy. And I remember, I mean, in hindsight, it's ridiculous that I got stuck just playing the base game, like playing through the story, and I got stuck. Like, that's unacceptable for a game to ship, and you can have a character that you've been playing for like tens of hours just become locked because you were stuck. But anyways, that was ridiculous. And so what do I do when my Fallout 4 character in fucking this buggy-ass game gets bugged out? Like a couple months later, I pre-order Fallout 76. And so if you know anything about that game, then you know that that was a mistake. And so I learned a lesson that day of don't pre-order video games. You'll probably be disappointed. And be more careful with your money, is the lesson that I learned. But anyways, Fallout 4 was one... Oh, okay, that sucks. Portal 2, I would play. I don't know, I just had only Portal 2. It wasn't the orange box. I only had Portal 2, but I played that a lot. And I also played a game called The Darwin Project. And now, I don't think I spent a lot of time playing it because it was a free-to-play game and it died pretty quick. But the reason I mention it is because, interestingly, and this is a story for a different video, so I'm going to keep this short. But interestingly, The Darwin Project was my first attempt ever making like a YouTube channel. And so like I said, I'm going to leave it at that. If anybody is like an internet detective, I'd be shocked if you could find that, because that is still around. But anyways, that's a story for another time. If you want to hear more stories, if you're like, I mean, I'm assuming if you're still here, you're enjoying the video, but yeah, if you're not, just tell me, or tell me if you do like it, and I'll make more. But anyways, that was kind of it for the Xbox 360, because at some point, we purchased a brand spanking new at the time HP laptop that was like $300, so it was actually just a piece of junk. But I was excited because I had been watching Muselk play TF2 now for a while, and I really wanted to play TF2. And so I want to talk a little bit. I don't remember exactly when I saw, like, I don't know what video I saw first from Muselk. I'm almost positive it was TF2. But at this point, I had been playing the very gritty, like, first-person shooter games of, like, the 2000s and the 2010s. I had played a lot of them, right? Because, like, I didn't mention them, but I had access to, like I said, Battlefield 1, but I also played, like, Battlefield, what was it called? Like, Hero or Bad Company or something like that. I had played a lot of very gritty first-person shooter games, and I think at some point I realized, probably, like, from Battlefield 1, I realized, yeah, you know what? These games are all kind of the same. And so I think when I saw TF2, I was like, oh my god, like, look at this. Because TF2, say what you want about it, but it's definitely different from other games in the same genre at its time. You know, it's just, the art style is just so different. And I saw that, and I was immediately hooked. And so, interestingly, when I got this computer, I never had a phase in TF2 where I was like completely lost fresh install. don't get me wrong, I was lost. I was really bad because I was used to playing with controllers like WASD and mouse and keyboard. That I was not good at, and so I was horrible. And I was playing on a horrible, horrible hardware. I was lagging all the time. I kept blaming my internet service provider. I was like, our Wi-Fi sucks, but it was really just my computer lagging, because I only played on a Minecraft trade server. It's all I played on for the first couple hundred hours, and I thought my internet sucked, but it was really probably my computer lagging because my computer sucked. But yeah, I kind of knew what all the items did. I made Spy at first, and then I think I switched to Sniper at some point. Or maybe it was the other way around, I don't remember. But yeah, it was great. I played TF2 a lot. But at some point, and at some point during that phase, I had started watching, like, other people play TF2. Like, I think my introduction to, like, Banny was when I saw him 20-0 Muselk in MGE. And I was like, at the time, I was like, holy shit, this guy's incredibly good at the game. Like, this Muselk guy, I thought Muselk was great. And then he gets 20-0'd by Banny. I'm like, holy crap. So I started watching Banny, and that was my introduction to comp TF2. But nothing ever really came of it in my first couple of years of playing TF2, because I would have started in 2016. And then eventually I quit because, well, for one summer I quit video games entirely, which is actually, you know, a different story. But I quit TF2, and for a long time I was actually playing other games that weren't TF2. I think my main games, I played a crap ton of Minecraft, but again, that's a different story. But yeah, when did I get back? So I quit TF2. When did I get back into it? Well, I wouldn't say like I quit TF2 once. Like, it was probably like I stopped playing, and I came back, I stopped playing, as it usually goes. But then I came back in 2020 because of COVID, and I had all this free time, and I started pubbing again. I had a ton of fun, and I remember one day I just was like, "Screw it, man! I'm gonna sign up for this like team drive, a newbie team drive." And a funny story about that is, I signed up for this team drive, like I joined the Steam group, whatever, and I forgot about it because it took a while for them to like organize everything and put all the teams together. So I forgot about it. And so one day I have like 5 people all add me at once, and I was like, what is this? And I looked at all their profiles, and I didn't know who they were. And I basically was like, this is probably some elaborate scam. And so I ignored most of the friend requests, but the one guy I did accept because I'm like, okay, this guy doesn't look like he's a scammer. Shout out to Trucks for Ducks. And I added him, and he messages me a bit later, and he goes, dude, like, why did you ignore all of the people adding you? Like, those are your teammates. And I was like, what? And he's like, you know, for the newbie drive you signed up for? I'm like, oh, right. And so I re-added all those people, but I forgot about it. And so if you're familiar with, I don't know how, you know, what you watch here on YouTube, but you probably know Queequeg. And that's how I met those guys, and how Xylophone was formed. And that was basically my introduction to comp TF2. And since I'm already here, I can just tell a little bit more background about the channel, because I never really intended to, like, do TF2 YouTube. So, like, the story is that as I was getting into competitive, like what I'm just talking about now, I did what I had kind of always done when I was interested in learning how to do something, and I didn't really know how to do it. I would use the internet, of course, because, you know, that's what a lot of people do. And so, interestingly, basically, like, the first time in my life, I was looking up something that was, like, obscure enough that there wasn't really any good information out there for it. So as I was getting into competitive, I was like looking up, like, trying to find like roamer guides and whatever, and all of the information that I was seeing, I could tell was out of date, because like all the videos at the time were like 7 or 8 years old, and now they're probably like, you know, 12. Now they'd be 12 or 13 years old, because this was like 5 years ago. But I'm watching this and I'm like, okay, this ain't right, because I've seen enough Banny videos to know that like shotgun pocket is no longer a thing, and people were always talking about shotgun pocket in these videos, and I'm like, okay, well, this isn't right. This is out of date. And long story short, I could not find anything that wasn't out of date. And so I played competitive for a while, and I kind of lamented to my team. Well, luckily, well, for the record, the newbie thing that I signed up for, they give you a coach, so shout out to my coach. They like taught us what we needed to know, and they were able to hook us up with like people who could give a bit more class specific advice. So shout out to Grape Juice for coaching me when I was like really bad. But yeah. Anyways, I mentioned to my teammates, I said, you know, this really sucks because I have to like ask somebody to like explain this to me. It would be cool if there was like just videos for this. And then Queequeg just was like, well, why don't you make videos? I'm like, well, because I'm not good. He goes, well then play a couple more seasons and get good and you can make videos. And that's what I did. And that's where the origin of my main channel is. My second channel, obviously. That's the origin story of that channel. Although I was learning to video edit. I made a couple of videos before then, and I've since privated them because they're absolutely garbage, and most of it is like an inside joke. Anyways, the 5 or 6 videos that I made, probably like 80% of them are inside jokes, and then like one was just I was complaining about the quick fix, but I did like a remastered version of that. So those videos are all gone. But yeah, so like the first videos that I didn't just delete basically were my roamer guides. And in hindsight, I mean, I don't think that they... I think there was a lot of inaccuracies in those videos. I think that the production quality was bad. But I'm still glad that I made them because they did pretty well. I mean, and it helped people out, I think. But just for the record, because you can't, like, if you go back and look at the channel and, like, these videos, I think they have a couple, you know, I think one has, like, 10,000 views or something. It didn't start with that many views. It was kind of, I don't want to say, like, a failure, because I was happy with the product at the time. But I didn't continue making them because they got views. I made them because there were a couple of comments that were like, hey, it's really good, or whatever. And I had gotten positive feedback from some people in the community saying, hey, we need more of this. And I was like, yeah, I'll do more. And I remember when I uploaded episode 2, I think episode 1 got like a spike in views, and I remember when I reached like 1,000 views in that video, I was like, holy shit, man, 1,000 people have seen this, it's crazy. But eventually, I got really busy with school, because COVID kind of ended, and I was back in person, and I got really busy, school got harder, and I lost interest in competitive for a while, so I took a break. And then when I had a bit more free time, and I had the itch to play some tf2, I got back into it, and I ended up playing Highlander because it fit better in my schedule. And that was when I made the first video on my channel that was like actually pretty successful, like on release, which was I believe it was the casual Demoman video. And then a couple months after that, I made casual roamer video, and that video was what got the channel monetized. And it was like holy crap! I went to bed, you know, one night with like probably like 700 subscribers, and I woke up and I was like, oh my god, I'm monetized. And so, because you need 1,000. But that's kind of the story, and I never set out to do videos for TF2. I just was like, you know, I feel like there's just there's a lack of information from players like me, or there's like a lack of information for like aspiring tryhards, and most of like TF2 YouTube is kind of just like casual players. Like, that's why I started making videos. And it wasn't like I woke up one day and I said, I'm going to make a bunch of videos about TF2. I want to do this one thing, and then that was well received, and then it kind of just continued on. But yeah, that's a story. Let me look at how long have I been recording. I've been recording for only 47 minutes. I made that, I absolutely breezed through that. Holy crap. The first one was like an hour 15. But I suppose I've told the story like almost three times now, basically. So, yeah. Do I have anything else to say? Let me look at this and see if I'm missing anything. I think I probably just did a better job of avoiding rambling for this story. And I got to the point quicker because I already told it once before.
Prepare to compete in 60 seconds.
Alright, well, I think that'll be it for this video. I don't think I missed anything. Thank you for making it this far in the video, and I really hope that I don't have to re-record this again, because that means something went wrong, and I don't even know if I'm going to record it for a fourth time if this has issues. So, anyways, have a good one.